Welcome everyone, and Roger, Happy New Year to everyone. In view of what you were saying in relation to when does it sort of cut off? Anyway, the 12th night was last night, was no, Monday, Tuesday, was it? So, apologies for absence. We've received one from Martin, and Tim may make an appearance in due course, but otherwise we'll assume that it's just Martin at the moment. Declarations of interest. Does anyone have any in relation to any of these planning applications?
I've got one for the one in Fedham Village or the two in Fedham Village.
And here he is.
So I live there. Yeah. That's just to try and keep you out.
They are, because we assumed that the side ones were still open. Oh, it is still.
Sorry, did you get that, Chairman?
Yes.
Yeah, it's 2377 and 2378.
Yeah. In relation to the nautical school.
Yeah. Yes, I just happen to live next door to it. Yeah.
Tim, any declarations of interest? No. Okay, thanks. Right, the minutes of the last meeting, are we in favour of approving those? Please, someone propose. Thank you, Tim and Paul. I'll sign them off in due course at the end of the meeting. To receive the chair's report, well, there's nothing here, unusually. So straight into public participation. Bob, you're the only one.
Okay, well, it's very simple as well. With the start of the new year at the school and also the weather that's been, it's a nightmare here, absolute nightmare getting in and out. And I wonder if the council could follow up on the request that we made. I know it's gone into North Somerset sort of melting pot, which probably means it'll never be seen again. But if it was possible for council just to drop a line to North Somerset, whoever it is, and just try and get a status as to whether, you know, it is still being considered, and if so, when.
Okay, yeah, we'll do that, Bob. Do you know whether the new headmistress or headmaster is in place yet? Or
Yes, they are.
They are. Okay.
Haven't met her yet, but
Okay.
yeah, she started Monday.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll follow up with the school as well now that we've got a new head in place. So.
Yeah, I think that's worthwhile. If you want to set up a meeting or something, I'm quite happy to do that.
Yeah, so just for people's benefit, these are the yellow lines outside Highdown School. Yeah, so we've made a request for them, but we also are hoping that the school could support what we're trying to do. So,
okay, thanks for bringing that to our attention. I'm just going to nip back to agenda item 5, because there is one which I didn't spot, which is in relation to the Planning and Infrastructure Bill, which passed through the House of Commons on December the 18th and received royal assent. Right, and therefore we'll go on to the planning applications as they stand in said list, because none of them are being brought up to the top of the agenda. So we'll start with 1850, which is the Methodist Church, which is the erection of a single-storey flat roof extension to the side of the church and the relocation of the existing shed to the new position, which forms that new extension, as I understand. Right. Mariam, you said that you had a bit of information in relation to the comments made online. So if you could.
3 objections made online, and they're quite strongly objecting. There's a lot of points being made. I think maybe 14 points by one of them, but it all comes down to 3 main issues: that they're concerned that number 39 and 41 Seaview Road have not been consulted with, and it does impact them. Where the shed is located and the extension. They're mainly concerned about herbage and the environmental impact it's going to have in that area, but mostly about the nuisance and the noise pollution to neighbors, and just, you know, the disruption of having so much extra life back there, really.
Is there any indication that the shed will be used a lot more?
Yes, so they think that the shed is going to be, it's a men's used shed at the moment, and then it's going to be a woman's and a men's used area. So it's going to be more people coming into the back and disrupting the neighbors.
Okay. Thank you. Further comments from Roger?
I was going to say, can I assume that and it would be a huge assumption because I can't find it in the paperwork that this is mainly going to be used during the day, and that this isn't a request for something that's going to be used into the early hours of the morning. It doesn't feel like a men's shed or men's and women's shed is something that should produce the level of noise nuisance that would worry anybody.
Going into a lot of detail about ventilation for the shed and fire exits and doors, and there's a lot of information.
There needs to be a men's shed rave or anything like that. So.
Because of course there is the hall there anyway, which is presumably getting users fairly regularly.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, yeah. There's obviously brownies groups and all that stuff.
I mean, it's 4.5 meters in width, isn't it, and length.
175.
Okay, so it's a fairly large unit, David.
I went up to the site yesterday, and it does go very close to the border with one of the houses in particular. I can't remember which number it is now, looking at the map. And I suspect, given its height, I mean, it's not as high as the existing hall,
Mm-hmm.
but there are 3 windows at the back of that house. No one seems to have mentioned it, but there are 3 windows there, and I'd have thought something of that mass might block out the light. I mean, on the other hand, the men's sheds are great things, aren't they? They're great for isolated men in the community. But saying that, it does go right close up to some existing dwellings.
It's 1.7 meters away or something. I read something, but yeah. So I strictly from a planning perspective, it meets all the regulations, as far as I can tell. Although perhaps we should get obviously the case officer is going to check that.
Yeah, yeah. So we could make it subject to.
Yeah.
But I rather suspect that a proposal will come forward from us that we approve this subject to.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly what I was about to say. I think unless anyone's got a real burning objection to this, that we accept it subject to the was it the planning officer or the case officer reviewing the 3 online comments and dealing with their concerns. I think is probably the easiest way to put it, something around that.
Yeah, you could put in particular the proximity to the boundary of the neighbouring property and the impact on the light and stuff like that. So yeah, I think those are the 2 things. Yeah. So do you want to repeat that, Michael?
So recapping that, yes, we'll approve it. I presume any objections from
No.
We'll approve it subject to the case officer dealing with the raised issues by the consultation and comments online, and the review that he or she will make thereon.
I'd also mention I don't think any of the people who commented, Marianne, mentioned the fact that it comes up so close to the boundary of.
Yeah. So if you could just add it to the end of that sentence, Grace, just say, and also check the proximity of the boundary and any impact of the bulk of the building on the light going into neighbouring properties. Yeah.
I think the concern is the people closest to the boundary have not been consulted at all.
Well, that's a kind of different matter, but yeah, they will be through the.
Because they're around the back, aren't they? So perhaps the person that went out and put the notices didn't think of that. Okay, moving on. 2377 and 2378, which are the same application, which is for the installation of solar panels on the south elevation of the nautical school, which is the elevation overlooking the channel. No, the back one. It's the back one. It's the one facing Nor Road.
Yeah, facing the hill, basically.
Yeah. Any comments or objections? I mean, Paul, you.
So, I mean, I just give a bit of background, but so it's facing away. If you know Fenton Village, the main building, it faces the hill. So about 4 houses probably just about see the solar panels from there. but basically no one else can. Happens to be south facing that direction as well, so,
Yeah.
it's obviously much better. So, yeah, for all that.
Anybody want to see these?
Yeah. So anyway, they're just solar panels anyway. So
It was my understanding that the building itself wasn't listed. I don't know if Paul knows, but I thought it was the view from the channel that was listed there. And obviously this won't impact the view from the channel, will it?
it is a grade 2 listed building.
It is actually a grade 2
Yeah,
listed.
building is itself. Yeah.
I think maybe then it has the addition of a listed view or something.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
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 But then this wouldn't interfere with the listed view. So
No, no.
and I think we should applaud the use of solar panels on buildings. I think it's a good thing. And ultimately, as you say, the impact on this is minimal for people overlooking it. So I'm quite happy with it.
Right, so we're all in favour of that one.
So I'll just abstain. Obviously.
Paul's abstaining from that one. Okay, the next is 2461, which is an AOC and request to the it's 58 Hillside Road. Request to discharge condition 3 the samples of walling and roofing materials on the applications which went through in 23-24. Any comments in relation to that? No. And 2465, full application, proposed erection of a flat roof carport to the rear and car park. Sorry?
Did we not just vote for them?
Oh, well, I'm assuming it's unanimous.
Just formally, yeah.
Formally voting. Where was I? So the erection of the flat roof carport to the rear and the car parking area with a solar panelled roof. This is down at Hughes at 139 High Street, just down at the end opposite the White Cot
House, yeah.
Yes, which we dealt with through previous planning applications, and this is at the rear over there, carport area. Well, car park, yeah, it's quite an extensive bit of kit they're putting up with the solar panels on the top. Comments from anyone?
Oh, go on. We should applaud the use of solar panels. This is a great idea.
Proposed, seconded by Bob. So all in favour, yes. Unanimous again. 2491, 89 Brock End, proposed erection of a single-storey link extension between the existing detached garage, office and the dwelling. All looks pretty good to me. Any comments from anyone? No?
No objections online or anything. So
No, there aren't. Marion, would you like to propose that one? Thank you. Seconded by David here. All in favour? Thank you, everyone. Good. Capener Court, 2496, list of building consent for the replacement timber windows and doors, replacement of oil central heating with air source heat pumps sited around the back.
I think we should applaud the use of air source heat pumps.
You beat me to it.
Okay, proposed then by Paul, seconded by Bob. Thank you. All in favour of that one. Sorry, it's a very nice building, that one. Good. Right, now we come on to the slightly trickier one, 2500, 8284 High Street, change of use of the upper floors from the flat to HMO. For 6 persons, as listed, loft conversion including the rear dormer and front roof lights and associated refuge, cycle storage and parking in the rear yard. That's for 3 vehicles, as shown on the plan. Righty-ho, who wants to kick this off? I will start by saying that in light of the fact that we assume that it's a single flat up there because it doesn't have anything in the attic, then this is the replacement of one, possibly 2-bedroom flat with good lounge probably and a kitchen, perhaps 2 separate units, 2 rooms, into a fairly congested building development of 6 units, all with little en suites, no bigger than this table. And it all looks extremely crowded, and potentially it could be doubled up to be 12 people if bunks go in there. So I don't want to see this, and I know that a lot of people online don't want to see it either. It's setting a bit of a precedent. And the other thing that caught my eye was
Sorry,
the fact
Mike, you say you don't want to see it. What's your objection from a planning point of view?
well, that's the tricky point. Not sure. I don't think that yes, I know that. I'm sure that other people on this table, around these tables, will come up with some better wording. That the actual conversion of the attic is conducive to this type of accommodation on the high street. But Roger, you might have better wording.
Who knows? I'll try and say. I think it's fairly normal for somebody who's recently acquired a property with accommodation above to look to maximise their investment potential from it, and I think an HMO does exactly that. So I understand the motivation behind it. I'm just not sure if it's appropriate in the area as it stands. We're talking about putting 6 individuals into a single property with limited parking, and I think one of the objections is from the Royal Mail depot behind regarding access to their yard as well. So that's another concern. But I just think it feels like putting 6 individuals with, is it 3 parking spaces in there? With 3 parking spaces in there. I mean, only half the people in there can have a car, or they can park on the high street, which is limited double yellow lines, 1 hour. It just feels like the wrong sort of use of that property, and I think it brings real problems with the additional traffic that it would potentially bring. And I don't think we can assume that 6 people won't have a car.
Does that construe as being overdevelopment?
I was going to say, Chair, I think I'm quite concerned about substandard living conditions for the people in that area as well. And it's not a good look or image for our high street to portray either.
Please chip in, councillors, if you've got other comments.
I'm kind of, it's the high street. So if you're going to have an HMO anywhere, that's the place to put it, because there is public transport there. I've lived in student houses where, and they're quite normal in student towns, just we haven't got many of these sort of places in Portishead. So, it does look a bit overcrowded for there's very little living spaces. There's barely more living space in a student flat. So yeah, I think it's a bit overcrowded, but I would support an HMO if it was like 4 units or something like that rather than 6. But because it's exactly exactly the sort of place in town where you put more people, more people want to live, because they've got access to the facilities. So.
Okay. Well,
yeah, looking at the plans myself, it just, I just don't know how someone could actually live in such a tight space. I'm just wondering about the fire risk as well. I presume the windows will have this the modern style emergency exit point, but is that the only thing that's going to be there for people to escape? Because as I say, when you look at the plan and you look at the rooms for sleeping in, there's virtually nothing else. It's a small kitchen.
Well, I mean, on that note, I mean, there's the one staircase, and then you've got the dormers at the top. There's no mention as to how they get out of the.
Yeah, so I mean, if their window, I mean, it's like my house. There's the top stairs. We got obviously the window, and you've got the emergency exit side. But if you've got six people, or potentially even more, with friends and family or relatives coming over to stay the night or kip on the floor or anything, to me that's a massive risk.
How about we say it's overdevelopment, there's against parking, there's not enough parking, and we question the fire safety of such a development.
Can we include a question mark over the living standards, the size of each unit of accommodation maybe being below what we would consider reasonable living standards?
Yeah,
put that in as a comment. Yeah,
that's what I meant by overdevelopment, really. But yeah, so overdevelopment, i.e., not enough space for people to live in.
Yes, I mean the actual kitchen living room is pretty small, isn't it, in relation to the total number of people there potentially there. I mean, aesthetically, I think there's also the question about the removal of the chimneys, the big dormer at the rear, and the rather ugly fenestration, which isn't being changed on the front, or if it is, it's worse than the existing. But
yeah, I don't think it's just it's the aesthetics. It's the point that I think, obviously, if we had this on screen now and we had members of the public seeing that map, as I seeing the layout, I think they'd be just as concerned as we are. I think that's to me a lot of this is down to health and safety.
well, considering how many comments were made online, I'm a bit surprised no one's here tonight.
Comments 2 for and 9 against, but parking was really one of the main things, wasn't it? Anyway,
So I think, Grace, those are the main comments. You've got quite a list there, so I'll help you deal with them in the next couple of days. I think we've got the gist of that one. So proposed refusal then on all those grounds. Roger, seconded by, well, you all had your hands up.
Okay.
Marianne. So we're all refusing on that one. Right. Just get the paperwork out of the way. Next one then is where does that one come from then? The 117A High Street 2517. I don't have any
with that. I mean, it's not there, that's one.
Right.
It's been withdrawn over.
Okay. Yeah. So 11 Tudor Road, 2496, proposed demolition of the existing conservatory, erection of a single-story rear extension and partial conversion of the existing garage, including fenestration and roofing alterations. Any comments from anyone? All meeting your approval? Right, proposer? Bob's hand I saw, David second, all in favour of no objection, thank you. Okay, well, the next one, I won't read it all out because you know what it's all about, and we'll sort of note it. And it's good to see that things are moving on. I mean, in my absence, all the trees have come down at the station site. A big one, I did, and I thank you for that one. 2546, 14 Rodmore Road, demolition of the existing garage and the outbuildings and proposed erection of a larger garage and garden annex, widening of the existing entrance, new sliding gate and associated landscaping. Right. It all looked pretty good to me when I looked. Expensive landscaping. Any other comments? I'll propose that one, seconded by Dim in your ward. David's all in favour. Thank you. Unanimous again. So moving, Roger.
Are we going to do the Poise branch line?
If you wish to make a comment about it, please do.
No, I just thought it was timely to mention that here we are in a new year, and we have another application discharge requirements for the Portishead branch line, showing yet again quite conclusively that the project is on track, and that I thought I'd get that one in, yeah, and that
Not for the first time.
yeah. And that we all look forward, I think, to seeing a railway station opening, hopefully at the end of 2027.
Yeah.
It was sort of it got pushed with it was early 27, so late 27. it might even sneak into 28, so I wouldn't like to put any money on that one.
Although I suspect that once they get cracking on it, it will go quite quickly. I think it'll get probably held up with things like the station development.
Yeah.
Righty ho. 131 Heron Gardens, 2587. What, the railway? Well, I'm pretty sure that's unanimous all round. Yes, indeed. So that is a fairly simple proposed erection of a two-storey side and single-storey rear extension in Heron Gardens, 2587. We've seen this happening on other occasions. Precedent has already been set. This is near your place. Would you like to make any comments? Okay. So Tim's proposing. Any other comments from anyone? Seconded by Marianne. All in favour of no objection to Heron Gardens? 2606, 11 Drake's Way, proposed demolition of the existing attached garage, landscaping alterations to the front of the dwelling to create level off-road parking, and rebuild of the boundary wall to the rear of adjacent parking area, erection of a two-storey side extension with integral garage and Juliet balcony to the front elevation. This house is set back quite a way from Drake's Way, actually. So it's not really very visible in terms of the impact it will have on any other neighbour. Comments from anyone? No.
That will look fine.
Marianne, you have a comment?
Yeah, no, it's I mean, it's fairly standard as to what a lot of other people have done in that area. The Juliet balcony isn't a large balcony, is it?
No.
And it faces back into Drake's Way, not over the back to overlook the other properties. So I understand from the plans. I'm assuming I've got that right.
Yes, on the front elevation.
And therefore it shouldn't be a problem, yeah.
Yeah. Bob?
There's two comments online, both supporting.
I think. Yeah. So who proposed that one? Roger, David, unanimous again, Grace. All right. 11 Conference Close, 2610. Proposed erection of a link extension between the existing detached garage and the dwelling. Very similar to what we've already discussed up on Tudor, wasn't it? Any comments from anyone? Straightforward. No objection. Proposed Marianne, seconded David again. That's no objection. The next block in relation to the footpath is not a planning application, so unless anyone's got any comments particularly in relation to that, we'll skip through. So we'll come to the Rodmore Road again, 2627. Certificate LDP on the proposal to change the front and rear of this. We discussed this in full last time with the owner here and neighbours here. It got withdrawn and they've resubmitted with the change or changes. The front's looking a lot better. The Velux that they were considering before has been changed to conventional Veluxes. And the rear is the one that's still, in my mind, is too large and obtrusive. But how do you get around that? Could you split the dormer up into 2 or 3 units rather than the one big block? Ward councillors, comments, please.
I think this is an improvement. The concern last time was the asymmetry from the front, which is the kind of signature view as you come into the lake grounds. The people who own the property have done a lot, I think, to try and improve its appearance. I'm not so worried about the back view because that's not really visible as you come into the lake grounds. There are no comments online. It seems like the people who were previously objecting are now happy with that. So I'd be happy to approve this.
Tim?
Yes, I think it's definitely a vast improvement, and like David said, so looking at the back, I don't think there's much to worry about.
You don't?
So no problem there at all.
I mean, they have reduced the length of it. I'll grant them that. But I just wondered whether it could be replicating this section here by having two of those instead. But it's an architectural feature rather than the actual principle of it. Bob?
Yeah, I think I'm going to abstain from this because, as I see, the application was put in on the 18th of December. Obviously, considering people are on holiday and the concern of the residents, the joining residents, at the last time, I'd rather them allow to have the time to feedback. But obviously, if that time's too late, I'd rather leave it to someone else to make that decision. So I'd rather not vote on it.
I'm not 100% sure when it was submitted. The
Well, it says,
revised.
it says
You're saying it's the 18th.
application 18th of December.
The plans are dated.
18th of December. So obviously, considering of Christmas, people being away, they might not actually even know that there's another application going in.
Well, the residents that came in last time, have you had any contact with them? I've been away, so I haven't been. You haven't, Tim. Roger, you had to comment.
Yeah, just to say that the applicant came in last time to the meeting, and I think the neighbours who came in and most of the people here shared their concerns over certain aspects of the plan, and he's gone away, to his credit, and changed the plan and brought back something which looks to be a lot more acceptable, notwithstanding Bob's point that the neighbours may not yet have actually seen that. I think this is a step in the right direction, and I'd be happy to approve this as it stands. But do we want to ask for a deferment, given the fact that it was clearly put in just before Christmas, and we're now in the first week of January? We may not have had sufficient time for any objections to come in. Notwithstanding, if objections do come in, the North Somerset planners, who will see it much later after us, will also see those objections.
I just feel, because obviously they came here, which obviously most people that do tend to come to council meetings do have concerns. I wouldn't want to just presume.
Well, we could word it as Roger suggested, as an approval subject to the a longer period of consultation, if necessary.
Just subject to no substantive objections being raised by the neighbours. I mean, really, I just think you want to check the comments before you say you take this as being like carte blanche to go ahead.
And has anyone got it in front of them? Are there any public comments in relation to that? No. Okay.
I think that's the right wording. So we'll approve it subject to any substantive comments from neighbours. Yeah. Okay, I'll propose that one.
Seconded by Roger.
All in favour? Yeah.
So one abstention from Bob. Okay. My little concern in relation to the size of the rear dormer, I take your point, David, although I thought that it had been mentioned that from Battery Lane you could see the rear quite a lot. But anyway.
I'd say there's no doubt you can see the rear from Battery Lane,
yeah.
But I think the point is the view from the lake grounds is the view that everyone would be concerned about, not the view from Battery Lane.
Yeah. Indeed, although Battery Lane, of course, is on the edge of the conservation area. But all right. Okay, so the last application then on our list is 2658, the advertising consent for Sports Direct. This was the only one I couldn't flag up online from Canada, so I haven't seen it, but I can picture their logos and whatnot. Oh, right.
Side.
Yeah. Oh, that's not too glaring, isn't it? Yeah. What's that bit there?
My only concern with this is as you're looking facing the building, it looks like the left-hand window, which is 3 large panes of glass, is going to be turned into an advertising hoarding.
That's what I was just about to say.
Which I don't think is in keeping with the high street. The rest of the frontage looks okay. They're using their normal logo, which I think is no worse than the Poundland logo. It's reasonable point size, so I'll increase the size of that.
So you mean this would be what, a digital advertising, which could be
that's what it
changing?
looks like. I don't know. What do you think, Bob?
Yeah, I think it could be digital, and that was my only concern. Is obviously is side advertising might not be suitable.
Well, especially if it's outside shopping hours and it disturbs people living over the.
Yeah, that's my only concern. So
It's just the appearance of it on the high street. That's so you've got normal windows, two-thirds to the left of it, and then that entire window there.
Yeah. So how are we going to word this one then? That will approve most of it,
But
not
I've got
concerns over the advertising
on the
third.
As you're facing the building, the left-hand third, which occupies 3 large windows, and I think they should just be glass windows rather than used for advertising.
So there's nothing in the wording to say that it's.
Couldn't see anything. Which elevation are you looking?
Front.
The view from the high street. Post shop elevations.
So with the west elevation, isn't it?
Okay, guys.
Even if that's an image and not a screen, it's still quite intrusive of the high street, so it needs to be a bit more in keeping of the.
Yeah, is there any way we can ask Sports Direct to actually communicate with us on this so we can come to an agreement with this? I don't know if we have a contact number for them.
Well, I mean, this will be subject to the guidelines in North Somerset sort of policy in relation to frontages.
Yeah, I'm just trying to
trying
to slow the long-windedness of it and stretch it out. It might be a good way of then communicating with the town and the council, and to get this pushed through quickly.
Roger.
Okay, first of all, I think the important thing to say is it's really good that that although we've lost the shop from the high street, we're going to get another shop into the high street. So that's the first thing. Secondly, every shop is entitled to put its name on its shop front, although it isn't entitled to have that illuminated. So so the only reason they're coming for planning application is because some of these signs are to be internally illuminated and therefore they fall within planning. If you've been in a Sports Direct shop, and I may have frequented the odd one, you'll notice that they don't have windows inside. They block out all the windows so they can get more stock into the shop as a sales area. And I think this is exactly what they're doing here. They're blocking out as much as possible to maximize their sales space, which is exactly what you would expect from any Sports Direct that you go into. So I don't think there's any surprises here in what they're doing. I don't know if that's an illuminated sign or if it's just a sort of a static one, but it would be quite, for me, I'd quite happily approve it, subject to any internally illuminated signs only being operated during reasonable hours. Well, I don't think we've got a great deal of residential properties directly within the beam of where those signs would go, but it would make sense to restrict the hours, such as the hours were restricted for the dentist down by
Indeed.
Waitrose, wasn't it?
Indeed,
With their
yes.
illuminated sign. So
Yes.
yes, I think that,
Yeah.
that it maybe put a request in to just restrict the hours to whatever the planners
Yeah.
believe are reasonable.
So even if
David?
it's not illuminated, it's still quite an eyesore on the high street, the use of that window in that way. So I think either way, I'd rather not see a massive advert there. There's no other place on the high street where you see something.
I think I point out that if you look at the sports shop, they've blocked out their entire window and with a backing and put shoes in there. So I don't see any difference to what the other sports shops already done, or actually what Solution or a number of other shops have done. It feels like it's sort of in keeping. I like the traditional shop where the windows are open, you can see into it, but that may not be the modern view anymore.
I'm absolutely fine with it. At the end of the day, it's a retail business and they need to sell stuff. So, you know,
I think, Mariam, you were.
I was going to agree with David that and I guess if they're going to block it out, if they block it out like how Sports Shop has done with putting some things in the shop window rather than a massive billboard, it's better. We wouldn't want an advertisement billboard of nothingness.
Mhm. Okay, Tim.
Yeah, I agree with Roger. Also, I think it would be a good idea to have, if there's going to be illuminated for the sign, it should only be illuminated when the shop is open.
Okay, so we've got a number of points here which Grace has been scribbling away, and communication with Sports Direct is probably also a good thing. So we could find out more about what this is actually going to do and be, and perhaps then we could reassess it.
but the sports direct are going to be liaising with the case officer. So perhaps we should actually just talk to the case officer because they no doubt will, because basically the case officer will apply North Somerset's rules for fascias on high streets, aren't they? So it's probably best to go through them.
Fine.
Yeah.
And so just to say, with the concerns of, shall we say, another fascia recently highlighted on social media, I think we need to be careful with this and just make sure we've got all our points correct.
Okay.
And just for transparency here, I have a shop in the high street with an illuminated sign that I operate well outside of my normal business working hours, mainly because it's directly opposite a garage with a lit forecourt. But the fact is that as a business owner, I would want my sign to be illuminated beyond my business hours because it's an advert for my business. So I think to have it illuminated within a reasonable time scale is a good thing, but I wouldn't want to restrict it just to their normal opening hours. That feels a little bit too much.
Roger, this is a 3 meter, up to 2 meters, 250 centimeters high, so my maths isn't very good, 4.5 meters wide sign. It's a massive, it's the same size as the kind of poster advert you see as you drive into Portishead from Clevedon. So I think the sign itself over the shop's fine.
So the one over the shop,
one over the shop's fine.
5.7 meters. You're looking at the
far left,
the other one, yeah.
Which says Everlast on the plans. That's massive.
Yeah, that's the whole frontage of those windows.
Yeah.
Hmm.
3 windows. Yeah.
And we're not sure whether that's going to be the illuminated one or not. Right. I mean, we'll make the notes that we've discussed it, and that we have concerns. Obviously, the case officer will hopefully come back. Or will we get involved in it? I don't know. I mean, they're going to make the decision finally, aren't they? So it's a question of how they come to negotiate with Sports Direct, presumably, over the issue.
On this one,
we'll raise the concerns
yeah,
ourselves.
Well, obviously we can do our normal fill in the portal, but it would be good if we could
Yeah.
just make contact with the case officer just to have the conversation. I think that's the best way to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
So do we vote on that? Say yes or no?
We will. All right.
Can we then mark our concerns if that 3 window area is to be an illuminated sign? Is that what you're saying, or you just prefer it not to be a sign at all?
I prefer it not to be a sign at all.
Yeah, I think that might be pushing it. Given that they will lose that entire space internally as a retail space.
There are other options like
They could just paint the windows black, right?
I'm just going through several of their photographs online, and there's variants. So there's some that show backboards that sit slightly back from the window, and you can still look into the shop. There are some that cover up a wider area. There's some with model dolls, all dressed up in Nike outfits. So I don't know. I'd rather we had that opportunity to speak to them or work with the officer on it.
Well, it's just this one unit, isn't it, that's causing the issues at the moment, because the rest of it we fully accept as just standard advertising and shop frontage, decals and such like. So we either split this and say that we're perfectly happy with everything bar the left-hand frontage window arrangement, and we'll hear in due course from the case officer. Voting wise, I'm assuming we'll all vote in favour of the first what I mentioned, and then the window business. We'll vote on that.
So we're going to have two votes, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Yeah.
So the first one, general signage all round, unanimous. Big window, which we're not sure whether it's illuminated or this, that, or the other. Seconded by objection. Okay, so there's enough probably objection between us, because I'll go with that one as well. Right. So objection to the big picture window, Grace. Right. Well, that concludes the meeting, I think, doesn't it? Oh,
there's the tree stuff.
Didn't turn the page over. Okay, so TPAOs and TRCAs. I've not looked at these, so I don't know. Oh, yes, I did. The Royal Hotel, the Ash. Well, we don't know whether it's got dieback or not, but they don't mention that, do they? They just say more light into the beer garden. Any other comments in relation to any of these? The Deans, the oak, felling of the tree. Who was first?
Obviously I've not been at the meetings for the last month due to the massive amount of involvement I have with community. Obviously one of the big concerns was the cutting of the tree on the lake grounds. While we're talking about trees, I'm just wondering, as a council, can we look to plant a proper tree to replace the one that's been felled? And ideally not a small sapling, is something substantial so it has chance to grow, because my fears are if we do plant anything down at the lake grounds, it will get vandalised before it has chance to secure itself.
Okay, fair point.
Well, we have planted quite a few trees recently around the skate park. So one of them was vandalised. The rest of one's probably died through drought, but the rest are okay. So, but we just need to make sure we have proper guards around them and stuff. Yeah.
But just in relation to your point about the trees at the lake grounds that have been felled, I was in touch with the North Somerset Trees Officer yesterday in response to concerns about work being carried out on the oak tree, which has been felled. It's having a very minor trim. But the two trees that were felled down by the lake, they were dead or dying and posed a risk. So they were being taken down for the right reasons. The other big concern down there is that the big bits of trunk have been left just lying on the grass, and they've not been taken away because of the muddy weather before Christmas, and the vehicle that took the contractors to take the trees down has left big muddy imprints already on the leggers, and the additional weight of the trees is the reason. But they are going to be removed, the trunks.
So could we have that put out in a comms to the public?
Asked all of them set for comms to use and point to. They said they were going to do it yesterday, so hopefully that's out by now.
Do any of you have any knowledge about any of the others? The horse chestnut, the oak? Far away, David.
I went to look at the ash tree at the Royal Hotel. I'm just concerned about taking down ash trees when we don't know, and I don't think the application says one way or the other whether it's got ash dieback. But given the pressure on ash trees in general, it seemed a shame to take that particular tree down. And when you look at the site, the tree in question is already shaded by the hotel itself, which is south of the tree. So I'm just looking at the site. It seemed to me that it wasn't going to prevent too much shading, and it would seem a great shame to take down, a medium-sized ash tree for the sake of what looks to me like a small amount of shadeless area gained, particularly when a lot of the land there is in the shade of the building. So that was my concern with that
Can
one.
I just ask David, if you don't mind, was that ash tree in front of those new bed and breakfast areas by any chance?
It's out at the back. It's the sort of beer garden area.
Could they trim it?
No, it wouldn't affect the view. No, I don't think so.
Do you think it could be trimmed, some of the limbs?
I'm no expert. I just wanted to raise the concern that it wasn't made entirely completely clear in the application why it was being taken down, and for concern about ash trees in general, it seems a shame to take it down.
So Grace, we'll make a note on that.
Can I jump in, because I had exactly the same concern about the ash tree at the Royal. I'm not, I don't go around saying let's keep trees for the sake of it, but you're exactly right. I mean, ash trees are suffering from ash dieback and are being cut down left, right, and centre. And if they've got ash dieback, that's exactly the right thing to do. But this one is quite clear that this is being felled because they want to let more light into a certain area. And I don't think that's a reasonable reason to fell a mature tree. And I think we should object to that one.
There we go. Okay, there we go. So objection on the grounds of questionable justification.
Exactly.
Right. What about the oak and the horse chestnuts then to follow? And a beech down at Clarence Gardens. Anyone been visiting any of these?
Does anybody know? I'm a bit confused. I can see the TPOs; those have got tree preservation orders on, so the tree officer will decide whether or not that's the right thing to do with a preservation order on it. But the TRCAs, I can't remember what that stands for. Does anyone know?
Conservation area. It's
well,
in a conservation area.
So just a tree in a conservation area. So a lower level of protection, yes. Okay. But that's not to say that if we think the tree is worthy of protection, that we shouldn't ask the tree officer to upgrade that to a tree preservation order, of course.
Yeah.
If.
So in relation to the other trees, the oak tree at the Deans, I mean, seems to me the report saying that's causing structural problems with someone's house. So it seems reasonable to take that down. A great shame, I think, but there's a report alongside that suggesting.
Oh, I see. Right. Okay.
I haven't looked at the two cypress trees. At the beech tree, I wasn't sure which one it was. I tried to appear at that. In that area, there are two beech trees. There's one quite straggly one, and I think that's the one they want to fell. I don't think I'd have a problem with that. There's a much nicer beech tree in the neighbouring garden there, which I don't think they're wanting to fell. And again, the reasons for, I think, looking at that application, there's no explanation given on the application form for the 7 Clarence Gardens one about why they want to fell them, which I was surprised by. This is it's 7. 7 is where the beech tree is.
Are either number 3, number 7 Clarence Gardens, are they in relation to Clarence House?
I think Clarence House garden backs onto it.
Back of what used to be Dr. Collins' house.
Oh, they're there. Okay, right. Okay, yeah, I'm with you now. So you've got concerns over the Clarence Gardens ones?
No, I'm more in concerns with the Royal Hotel one.
Yeah.
Actually, I think the others are
which we've
reasonably happy.
Okay, actually. All right. Because as you say, the tree officer will be dealing with
Yeah.
these. Okay, then late planning applications. Well, nothing's come through this week, to our knowledge. And then agenda item 10, which is in relation to the local plan, the 15-year plan, and to note that the submissions made by PTC are set out as below. All 5 of them in relation to the said submission and the consultation over Regulation 19. Any comments in relation?
I mean, they're all in. I'm just going to ask Roger, is there any news on when we might hear whether there's an inquiry or anything like that? So,
No, nothing as yet. We literally had a first meeting back today after Christmas with all the cabinet members there, but it wasn't a cabinet meeting. We've got a cabinet meeting tomorrow, so yeah, if there's anything to come out, it'll probably be in the next couple of weeks, but not directly after Christmas, New Year, because all the officers have been on holiday.
okay, cool, thanks.
Okay, no. So in that case, I will close the meeting. The next one being on the 4th of February. Thank you. Thank you.